Isaiah chapter 30. Woe to the rebellious children, declares Yahweh, who execute counsel, but not mine, and make an alliance, but not of my spirit, in order to add sin to sin, who go down to Egypt, but did not ask me, to find strength in the strong defense of Pharaoh, and to take refuge in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore, the strong defense of Pharaoh will be your shame, and the refuge in the shadow of Egypt your dishonor. For their princes are at Zoan, and their messengers reach Hanes. Everyone will be ashamed because of a people who cannot profit them, who are not for people or profit, but for shame and also for reproach. The oracle concerning the beasts of the Negev. Through a land of distress and anguish, from where come lioness and lion, viper and flying fiery serpent. They carry their wealth on the backs of the young donkeys, and their treasures on camels' humps, to a people who cannot profit them, even Egypt, whose help is in vain and empty. Therefore, I have called her Rahab, who has ceased. Now go write it on a tablet before them, and inscribe it on a scroll, that it may be in the time to come as a witness forever. For this is a rebellious people, false sons who are not willing to listen to the law of Yahweh, who say to the seers, you must not see, and to those who have visions, you must not behold visions for us of what is right. Speak to us pleasant words, behold, visions of illusions. Get out of the way, turn aside from the path, cease speaking before us about the Holy One of Israel. Therefore, thus says the Holy One of Israel, since you have rejected this word, and have put your trust in oppression and deviousness, and have relied on them, therefore this iniquity will be to you like a breach about to fall, a bulge in a high wall, whose breaking comes suddenly and in an instant, whose breaking is like the breaking of a potter's jar, so ruthlessly shattered that a potsherd will not be found among its pieces, to take fire from the hearth, or to scoop water from a cistern. For thus Lord Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, has said, in repentance and rest you will be saved. In quietness and trust is your might. But you were not willing, and you said, no, for we will flee on horses, therefore you shall flee. And we will ride on swift horses, therefore those who pursue you shall be swift. 1,000 will flee at the threat of one man. You will flee at the threat of 5, until you are left as a flag on a mountaintop, and as a standard on a hill. Therefore, Yahweh waits with longing to be gracious to you, and therefore he is on high to have compassion on you. For Yahweh is a God of justice. How blessed are all those who wait for him. O people in Zion, inhabitant in Jerusalem, you will weep no longer. He will surely be gracious to you at the sound of your cry. When he hears it, he will answer you. The Lord has given you bread of distress and water of oppression. He, your teacher, will no longer hide himself, but your eyes will see your teacher, and your ears will hear a word behind you. This is the way, walk in it. Whenever you turn to the right or to the left, and you will defile your graven images, overlaid with your silver, and your molten images plated with your gold. You will scatter them as an impure thing and say to them, be gone. Then he will give you rain for the seed which you will sow in the ground, and bread from the produce of the ground, and it will be rich and fat. On that day your livestock will graze in a roomy pasture. Also the oxen and the donkeys which work the ground will eat salted fodder, which has been winnowed with shovel and fork. And it will be that on every lofty mountain and on every lifted up hill there will be streams running with water. On the day of that great slaughter, when the towers fall, and the light of the moon will be as light of the sun, and the light of the sun will be 7 times brighter, like the 7 days on the day of Yahweh, binds up the fracture of his people and heals the bruise he has inflicted. Behold, the name of Yahweh comes from afar, burning his anger and heavy his smoke. His lips are filled with indignation, and his tongue is like a consuming fire. His breath is like an overflowing torrent, which reaches to the neck, to shake the nations back and forth in a sieve of worthlessness, and to put in the jaws of the peoples the bridle set yourself apart as holy for the festival, and gladness of heart as when one marches to the sound of the flute, to go to the mountain of Yahweh, to the rock of Israel, and Yahweh will cause his splendid voice to be heard, and the descending of his arm to be seen in raging anger, and in the flame of a consuming fire, in cloudburst, downpour, and in hailstone. For at the voice of Yahweh Assyria will be dismayed, when he strikes with the rod, and every blow of the appointed staff which Yahweh will cause to rest upon him will be with the music and tambourines and lyres, and in battles, waving weapons, he will fight them. For Topheth has long been ready. Indeed, it has been prepared for the king. He has made it deep and large, a pyre of fire with plenty of wood. The breath of Yahweh, like a torrent of brimstone, sets it afire.